Maybe you've been building a stockpile for a while, maybe you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out what to put in it. But here today, I want to share with you 10 things that I think are a great thing to have in your stockpile, but that are often overlooked. These are practical things that we use regularly. As with anything, of course, adjust this list to what you and your family uses. But these are 10 things that I think are often overlooked to include in your stockpile. I'm Kristen here at Joyfully Thriving, and I think having a stockpile is one of the best ways you can save your family money. I'm just a regular mom. I have 4 kids. I have started doing this more in the past couple years just because I think having a stockpile really is a good practical emergency fund for my family. It's helping me to be prepared for the future, for whatever may come. We all know how crazy things are right now with inflation and prices getting higher. There are still shortages to be had. So by building a stockpile for my family, this allows me to help take care of them in a simple, practical way. All right, so if you haven't before, I've already shared a whole tour of my stockpile. I'll leave a link to that video below. And I've shared some of my baby steps for stockpiling. I have a whole playlist about stockpiling. I'll leave that link in the descriptions. But today I just wanted to take some time and go through some different items, maybe some unusual items that you haven't thought about stockpiling before, but I think can be really helpful. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. The first thing I think is a great thing to stockpile for your family is extra socks and underwear. Any kind of socks, any kind of underwear, any size. With kids, you want to think ahead about to the sizes they're going to be needing next and stock up on those things. For adults, it's easy to know what sizes you need, but have extra socks, underwear, undershirts, any of those type of things that you use on a regular basis. You're always going to need them. So if you see a great sale, instead of just buying the one package you'll need right now, consider buying an extra pair and sticking them aside. I have a plastic bin in my closet, and it has everything for our family in a variety of sizes for socks and underwear. I think it's a great thing to have in your stockpile. Another great thing to include are powdered drink mixes. Okay, this is just one that I've started using a lot. It's True Lime, True Lemon. It makes your water taste way better. Now, this can include anything that you drink. It includes your coffee. We're not coffee drinkers, but coffee, tea, lemonade mix. Some people really like Tang, hot chocolate. Anything that your family drinks on a regular basis that you can store in powdered form is a great thing to have. It makes tasting water a lot better, and it gives you variety. If there ever were an emergency and all of a sudden you needed something to drink and you really can't have anything other than water, you don't have access to it, having powdered drink mix just gives you a lot of variety. So think through what your family would like to drink, what you do drink, and start stocking some of those things in your stockpile. I've talked about this before, and I hope you are storing it, but laundry detergent. Okay, but here's my disclaimer on this. I really think in addition to storing regular laundry detergent that you're using, you should store some powdered laundry detergent. Now, I like to buy the big tubs that you get at Sam's Club, and they're really big, but it's all powdered. Having liquid is fine, but that's the stuff you're going to be using pretty regularly. It's gotten harder to find powder. You used to see at the grocery store, you could see powdered laundry detergent of all kinds available, but you really don't see that as much. If you can find it, Arm & Hammer does make a powder that I've seen at Walmart. And like I said, Sam's, Costco, those stores have big tubs of powdered detergent. The beauty of having powdered laundry detergent is that it's not going to go bad. So if you grab an extra tub or box of those and stick it aside, I think that's a great thing to have in your stockpile. Another good thing to have in your stockpile is baby wipes. Now, this applies whether you have a baby or not. If you have a baby or little kids or toddlers, definitely have wipes and diapers in your stockpile. But even if you don't, it's a great thing to have wipes on hand. If you lose power, if you're losing water, you need to get clean, baby wipes will do that. So you can easily buy, watch for a sale at your grocery store or buy a box of several of these that come with like 10 or 11 in a box and just tuck them aside. Wipes do wear out eventually. They'll probably go dry in a couple years if they haven't been opened, but you can add water to re-moisten them. I just think these are a great thing to have on hand all the time. And yes, I have 4 kids, so I know the value of having hand wipes around. great thing to have in your stockpile are baby wipes. Another good thing to have in your stockpile are feminine products. So whatever you would use, women, make sure you have this in your pantry. If you haven't before, I do have a whole tour of all my non-perishables inside our toiletry stockpile. And this is something I try to always have on hand because, well, you don't want to run out, but this just really can be hard to find sometimes, especially in an emergency or a shortage. So consider stocking up on whatever feminine products you or your family would need. Add those to your stockpile and make sure you always have them there. Okay, next thing I think is a good thing to have are bags, and all kinds of bags. So we're talking with this, your gallon-sized bags, your sandwich bags, your trash bags. It's always a great idea to have things like this on hand. You can use them to just divide up anything, whether you're talking food, storing leftovers, whether you're packaging big things within trash bags. It's just a great idea to have a variety of bags on hand. So, and because they're all compact and stored in boxes, it makes it really easy to stick aside and add to your stockpile that way. The next thing you should have in your stockpile are some paper plates and plastic silverware. If you suddenly lose access to water and running water, you do not want to be wasting what little water you have on doing dishes. So this is really practical, just even for a surprise power outage when that happens. We lost power for about 24 hours due to a downed wire in our neighborhood earlier this year. And yeah, you don't want to be worrying about having your dishes stack up. Having paper plates and plasticware are a great thing to have on hand for an emergency. This next one is one, if you've been around and you follow any of those prepper type people, I wouldn't really call myself a prepper, but I don't know, maybe I am according to some of you. One of the things I think you should have though is duct tape. Duct tape is really handy. It's very strong, it's durable, it's good for a lot of things, a lot of repairs. So it really is just a practical thing that you could use to fix tears in clothing, to fix a tear in a screen, and really so many uses because it's so strong. So if you don't have some duct tape, grab a roll or two of that and add that along to your stockpile. Here's one that you probably have somewhere, a lot of you, but my perspective has changed a little bit over the last couple years. So one thing I think you should have are coins. I think you should save your coins. Now, I've always saved coins in a jar. We don't use cash a ton. We are starting to use cash more and more recently, but we have always saved our coins. And generally in the past, we would, after every year or so, every 6 months to a year, we'd take them to the bank and we'd cash them out and we'd add that money to our savings. It was a great way to save some. Well, over the past couple of years, I've just started saving the coins. We haven't cashed them out. It's an easy way to have a little bit of extra money in savings. Plus, it's all in small amounts. We primarily save a lot of quarters is what ours come in, but I just think it's a good idea to have some physical money. So with this, you could add some small dollar bills, some ones, some fives. I've heard of people who, whenever they get cash back, they never spend their $5 bills. They just don't. Anytime they get a 5, they put it aside and they put it in a safe or in an envelope, and they just always keep their $5 bills. Having small amounts of money, physical money in dollar bills and coins, I think is a really practical thing to have for an emergency. Because if we suddenly don't have access to our banks or, again, power goes down, you can't pay with a credit card at the store, if you have some money, you will still be able to function for a time. So consider saving your coins and small dollar bills. And what's the last thing I think you should have? Well, this list could keep on going for a while, but the 10th thing I have on my list is extra shoes. Shoes and coats. Okay, I'm going to group the two of those together because I think they're both really important. Again, these are things you're always going to need and you're always going to use, especially tennis shoes. Now, I know this is harder with kids. The kids are growing, their feet grow fast. Although I personally, if I find a good sale on shoes, I have started just buying the shoes that they need in this size. And if I see them on clearance, especially at the grocery store or Walmart or wherever I am, I'll go ahead and buy the next size of shoes and put them in a bin. Again, I just have a plastic bin in the basement with extra shoes, one for the boys, one for the girls. And then for myself too, and my husband, if we see a good deal on shoes that we know we're going to wear and need, we go ahead and buy an extra pair and tuck them aside. It's just really handy to have those practical things. Say prices keep getting higher. People have talked a lot lately about hyperinflation, and we can talk about that another time. But having practical things in your stockpile that you know you're going to need all the time is a great way to make sure you're prepared and to stretch your money. So go ahead, buy that extra pair of shoes. It's the end of the season now as I'm filming this, so think ahead about coats that you would need. Buy, if you see a coat on clearance right now at the end of the season as winter's wrapping up, go ahead and buy the coats you or your kids might need for next year or in the next size, snow pants, things like that. Things that you know you're always going to need and use are a great thing to have in your stockpile, definitely like shoes. Okay, so those are my 10 practical things that I think you should have in your stockpile. You notice I really didn't focus on food in this list. I've talked about that before, and we can talk about that again, and we will, I'm sure. But for today, I just want to focus on those common practical things that your family uses. Now, if your family doesn't use some of these things, don't stockpile it. You don't want to waste your money, your space, your time on something your family would not use. But if there is something that you know your family uses, go ahead and add it to your stockpile. You don't have to do this all at once. I like to just really start watching for those sales, is how I stockpile on a budget, and I add to things slowly. So with this list, I'd suggest pick one or two that you want to focus on next, and then just slowly start adding as you can, as you have the funds available, add a couple things here and there. So what do you think everyone should have in their stockpile? What would you add to this list of those commonly overlooked items that people sometimes overlook in their stockpile? What do you think people should have? Please let us know in the comments. It's great to learn from everyone else because I know we all have a lot of different ideas and perspectives. These are just some of the things that I've been thinking about recently and have started adding to our stockpile for our family. If you like to learn about stockpiling, especially on a budget, make sure you subscribe. And like I said, I'll leave a link to all those, my stockpiling playlist in the description so you can check those out. If there's something else also you would like me to talk about in regards to stockpiling, if you have a question or something you'd like to see in a future video, please let me know so I can talk more about that with you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.